Good afternoon, Deb Rodenbaugh-Schaub again here today with our Facebook Live session, and today we're talking about career changes, the whole thought process that comes with you as you consider making a change. And that might be a change within the same industry to a different role or a totally different industry, totally different position. So we're going to scratch the surface a little bit here because it's a broad topic and lots to talk about. So today we're going to walk through a lot of information, maybe run through it even rather than walk. So some of the reasons that you might be considering a change: I'm bored, I'm frustrated with my work, there's not a chance for upward motion in my position, or the office politics, or I just think a change would make for a more harmonious family life. So there are reasons, and there are valid reasons, but there are so many things to think about. Keep in mind, every career has its negatives and its positives, so that's just important. And another thing to keep in the back of your mind is the energy level that it's going to take to get into a new position. There's a lot of ramp up time. So if you feel like you have some flexible time right now for family or friends or hobbies, just know that if you make a change, some of that might be adjusted a little bit while you ramp up during that transition time into a new position. But let's look at the homework that really needs to be done. So make a list. Putting it on paper makes it very concrete and real. The pros and cons of your current position. What do you like about what you do now? What do you not like about what you're doing in your current position? And then consider, what are the positions that are out there that would be a good place for me to use my transferable skills, the experiences I've had in the past. If there are those positions out there, and to start becoming aware through research, then I'm going to need to polish up on this skill or that skill, or take this class, that type of thing. You know, it could be too that it's a volunteer position that might help shed some light on a new industry. To take that path and do some volunteer work in an industry or in that certain type of role can be very enlightening and really give you a good idea if that's what you're built for or not. So that's another thing to keep in mind before making a really drastic change. And another important consideration is, have you talked with your current employer about your goals and aspirations? Do they know what you're thinking? That you never know. There may be an opportunity for an expansion of your roles and responsibilities there with your current employer. So keep that in mind, that might be an important conversation to have, just to be aware of. So as you look at those pros and cons of your position, do be careful not to overlook or underestimate really the values that are there within your current position. So let's look back at what's driving you to make a change. Is it fame, fortune, money, power, making your in-laws happy? You know, what is the real reason? And to think about, what's the culture of the organization I'm looking for? Be very specific and very, very realistic in your mind about what you are seeking that's different than what you have right now. And another thing to consider would be taking an interest assessment, something like the Focus 2 online assessment that's available to alum and current students of K-State. It really helps identify those strengths and interests and helps you understand more about what you're built for. So as you're putting these things on paper, and again, it's be realistic, and putting things on paper makes things concrete and real. To consider too, finances. So a lot of times when you make a change in position, there might be a temporary change in your income. Hopefully it's a greater one, but if it's a lesser amount, are you prepared for the changes? Have you thought about how that might impact things like your mortgage payment, or the money you're putting away for your children's education, or that big vacation you've had in mind for a long time? So just to know that and consider the financial impact, if that's going to be a stress on you living within a tighter budget. Do you have money set aside that you may have to rely on even? So important to consider that. And Do you have a strong support team around you? Because transition can be difficult, and it's always good to know that you're surrounded by people who are warm and caring and empathetic and understanding, because you never know who you're going to lean on. And of course, a career coach, that's definitely someone that you need to consider including in this decision making process. Someone like me, and I'm happy to do that. So, as you consider making a new change and you really believe that's the thing to do, there are some important action steps: the networking that's going to happen, updating your resume, making sure that the content of your resume really reflects the relevant past skills and training and experiences that you've had that fit this new position. And that's what you want to make sure you're highlighting during an interview, is what's relevant. And it's all about really catering that information to what the employer needs, more than sharing this is my personal growth or personal goals that I have in mind. The bottom line is the employer wants to make sure they're getting the right person in the position to do that quality work. So make sure that you're keeping that in mind during those conversations and as you put that resume together. So again, due diligence is so important. As you look at a company and you're really thinking, I'm going to take that job, make sure that you've done your homework. You've checked out their blogs, their website, their values, the mission, the goals of the organization, to make sure it's really what you're looking for before you make the big plunge to change. And it's good to have a contingency plan. No matter what, do you have a way that you're able to get back on your original career track if this happens to not be the right place for you once you're there? So contingency plans are a really good thing. So don't be careful not to jump from the frying pan into the fire or be carried away by the grass is greener on the other side syndrome. And of course, there are times when a new position is what you need and you need to reinvent yourself. Just do your homework. Make sure you're being very realistic. It's important that it's a matter of knowing what you want, not what you want to leave behind, but really what is it that you want to move towards. So important things to keep in mind. Again, we've really just scratched the surface. There's so much to this topic, and if you'd like to visit further, I'm available as a career coach here, available to help you. We have our 2 free hours of free career consultation time at the Alumni Association for members. So, and it's only $40 to be a member here, $20 for recent grads. Keep it in mind. I'd love to visit with you. Should you be in this position or any of those career search, job search mode. Thanks again for tuning in today. See you next time.